Well.
They'd stockpiled all the chronon particles from Ground Zero to keep the lifeboat running.
Enough to hopefully last until a proper solution was discovered.
From Sophie Emerald, chronon particle stockpile update to lifeboat maintenance. Everyone, please be advised that we are now at a point where lifeboat activation may occur. Accordingly, I have ensured that preparations are underway for activation. As part of that, what chronon particle stores still remain at Ground Zero harvesting operation are being moved to the headquarters and placed into the Master Chronon Particle Repository, ready to be placed under the CFR's control. Please be aware that what we have managed to accumulate until this point is very likely to be all the chronon particles we ever have access to. Due to the fracture's effect on the Meyer-Joyce field, the Ground Zero anomaly is showing definite signs of weakening. As a result, the chronon particle yield decreases drastically and will soon drop to baseline. While we will obviously continue more traditional chronon particle harvesting operations in order to maximize our stockpile, we all need to recognize that sourcing them outside of the Ground Zero condition is extremely inefficient, or in plain terms, unless we find another source of chronon particles, and I don't believe we will, what we have now is all we will ever have. Please be aware that all use of chronon technology eats into our limited resources, and while we of course recognize that we need to have our strikers and other soldiers operate in stutters, each operation undertaken will eat away at our stockpile and, in very real terms, cost us days of lifeboat runtime. Accordingly, we have to plan all use of this technology closely and choose our battles carefully. That said, we should also realize that ongoing situation with Jack Joyce constitutes an emergency and will most likely require unconventional chronon particle investments. Just the same, we should be aware of the cost. I expect to see projected chronon particle consumption rates for the foreseeable future and simulations of how long our stockpile will last, adjusted for all of the scenarios we have discussed. See our last meeting minutes. In our next Monday meeting, Sophie Emerald, Head of Research. 2 more. There they are, through that door.
Fiona, I'm at the CFR chamber. Door's locked.
That's way above my access level. But since my friend disabled security earlier, I should be able to do this. Listen, I don't really know what the plan is, but it's all up to you now. Good luck.
No pressure, right?
It was like walking into a shrine.
Oh god.
This was their holy relic.
There'd been some kind of struggle in the chamber.
Charlie.
I didn't know the details. Somebody had cleaned it up.
A man named Charlie Wincott. I believe he chose to take a stand. Unfortunately, it ended badly for him.
Mm-hmm. Well, it seems to be that kind of work environment.
No kidding. Personal notes on CFR. Personal notes on CFR, Dr. Henry Kim. This thing feels like a conundrum wrapped in a puzzle. It's an incredible piece of technology, and I feel like we're only scratching the surface of what it can do, and we have already learned so much. I thought I had a good understanding of the intricacies of chronon particles and their practical application before. Now I realize that I've still got a great deal to learn. The chronon field regulator, as I've decided to call it, is a little miracle. How such a small device can do so much is beyond me. I know it taps into the Myers-Joyce field, but I don't know how. My experiments just show it can do it. It can also manipulate the field. I wish I knew how. Still, the mechanics of this operation give me ideas, new avenues of thought I've been trying to find for such a long time. The task that I've been set by Mr. Serene has frankly stumped me for years, knowing that what we observe as the passage of time is just the result of chronon particles being constantly generated within the Meyer-Joyce field is a simple fact that I've been aware of for a long time. But being able to manipulate those particles in a meaningful way, well, that's another question. The mechanics of the situation are clear, almost frustratingly so. In a zero-state environment, there are no chronon particles, and thus time is frozen. The idea of artificially flooding an area with chronon particles to enable the passage of time is the obvious solution, but actually finding a way of doing that, that's something else. Not only are chronon particles incredibly difficult to source, so obtaining enough to actually stutter-proof an area for any time longer than a fraction of a second has always seemed impossible. Perhaps even more importantly, the mechanism of manipulating the particles in a way that would actually allow me to define a certain volume of space as stutter-proofed has constantly eluded me. Well, Ground Zero has solved the former problem for us. We're almost up and running, and very soon we will have the ability to harvest chronon particles at useful rates. we'll be able to build a truly formidable stockpile of them in the years to come. As for the latter problem, manipulating the chronon particles, that seems to be something the CFR does with ease. Its ability to tap into the Meyer-Joyce field and affect changes Joyce field and affect changes in its topology is exactly what I need. Unfortunately, I don't know how it does it. I don't have a clue, and I don't know how to effectively control these effects. But my research into the practical effects of its operation has given me ideas for a different kind of chronon technology that works on a somewhat similar principle, except instead of tapping into the Meyer-Joyce field, it generates a similar localized field of its own, an artificial chronon particle field, and within that field we can manipulate chronon particles at will. This means that we should be able to create stutter-proofing technology, allowing us to shield a certain area from the effects of zero state. And I believe I will be able to miniaturize this technology to allow for personalized devices with the same effect, almost like an environmental suit of sorts, with a harness the user would wear to create a chronon field around his body. There are still many challenges here, one of which is that any significant volume of star-proofed space will incur an unacceptable high drain on chronon particles, which are a decidedly limited resource. Obviously, with the lifeboat protocol requiring a large star-proofed area that we can maintain for years, quite possibly decades, this is a critical issue we have to solve, and Mr. Serene has made that quite clear to me. Frankly, even with Mr. Hatch backing me, the thoughts of disappointing Serene over this makes me quite anxious. I understand his concerns, and they are, of course, entirely founded. But the man's intensity is unnerving. In any case, I'm hopeful that I will figure out this problem soon. I'm hoping to be able to use the CFR itself to regulate the flow of chronon particles. Given its nature, I suspect it might be entirely suitable for such a role in the Lifeboat project and cut down our chronon consumption rate by a great margin. My control over the CFR is limited, but this seems to be a very basic functionality for it, so I'm optimistic that I can do it. I'm still looking into it, one thing at a time. We've already made great progress, and I will say that Mr. Serene's been quite complimentary with these successes, so I think he'll give us the time we need. Well, it's not like he has a lot of choice in the matter. I'll be honest, the CFR is becoming a bit of an obsession for me. I wish I could sit down and have that conversation and just ask those questions. How did he build it? What's it actually for? But I've been denied that opportunity. A part of me wants to open the CFR up and get to the bottom of it, but the potential consequences terrify me. We've already seen what it can do if unleashed. Even worse, there's the possibility that I couldn't put it back together, and just the idea of making a mistake like that is a positively bowel-liquefying thought. Having to explain that to Mr. Serene? No, thank you. So as it is, I have only dared to open up a bit of the casing to get a rough idea of some of the engineering inside. It's amazing work, and it has certainly been a lesson in humility for me. I still have a lot to learn, but I'm a very fast learner, and this has to be the most important work anyone has ever engaged in the history of humanity. If we succeed in our mission, the world will not soon forget the name of Dr. Henry Kim. Charlie Wilcott, Data Samurai. 4 out of 4 intel objects. Well, that means there's one more. Did I miss one somewhere along the way? Oh, please don't tell me I missed one somewhere along the way. I missed a media? Huh. All the way at the beginning, the very first thing I could have found. Damn. Oh well.
It took 11 years for Will to build the countermeasure. Beth died for it, and I knew it could fix the fracture.
This fucking thing.
Problem was, I didn't have a clue how to use it. The only person who did was dead. But Monarch had a way of getting to him before that ever happened.
The university time machine. We've got the core here.
Monarch had built their own time machine above the CFR chamber. That's where I needed to go.
You still believed you could go back and save your brother?
Yes.
Interesting noises.
Paul took the core of the time machine from the university, hooked it up to his own machine. It was part of his sick desire for control, but that gave me one last shot at fixing things. I could go back, maybe get to Will before Paul killed him. And if I could get the countermeasure in Will's hands, maybe I could still turn everything around.
Oh boy.
Core was set, the machine was prepped. I had to put the corridor in place.
Okay, this should do it.
Deploying the corridor. Phase 1 underway. Please clear all personnel.
Whoa!
Shotgunner advancing on hostile!
Oh, it's a big guy. Damn it.
Of course.
Final corridor deployment initiated. Phase 3 completed. Running diagnostics to confirm successful deployment.
Jeez.
That's my cue.
Okay, buddy.
Power.
Whew.
Corridor deployment confirmed. Corridor now ready for insertion. Thank you for your patience.
Oh, you're welcome, you very slow machine lady.
The machine was ready. I just needed to put in the date.
All right. Where am I going? Oh, right. Back down here.
The earliest I could go back to was the time that the core was first activated. At the university.
Not much time to rescue your brother.
I didn't have a choice.
You better be as advertised.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Targets have escaped the lab.
What's up, fellas?
Oh shit!
There's another way out of here, you know that, right?
HQ, we've got an intruder in the lab. Core extraction team is down. Over.
All of them? How? Joyce's...
Coming in.
Fire.
Give
Avoid
up.
damage to the core at all costs.
I got there after the fracture initiated. Too late to stop it all before it ever started.
But not too late to save Will. All you had to do was get to him in time.
Yeah, that was the plan.
HQ, we've got security footage of the Joyce brothers escaping through the server room on the lower level.
Raider Team 3, intercept immediately. Ready another extraction unit to remove the core.
Oh, down. Huh. Alright, real quick. There's nothing else here, right?
Okay, gotta get to the library.
Okay, I don't think so. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, take a moment to hit that like button. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that bell notification icon to stay up to date with all the new videos. As always, I enjoy and appreciate your comments, and if you could share my channel and videos on social media and across the internet, it would help, as it is your support that keeps this channel going. So, until next time everyone, as always, please, stay safe out there.